In this lesson, we're going to sew the UV maps on our body together, and then we'll also deal with the wing and the wheels. All right, so what we want to do with this process is we want to go ahead and sew these pieces together. Now, I've got my smooth preview on, so we will see some of that. Now, the way I like to do this is for each shell, I like to select, marquee select, to get all the edge vertices, and then I got to control select everything everything on the sides here that I don't want to select. If I don't do that and I press my move and sew button, I'm going to get a mess. Where'd it go? And it will be a mess because don't know where it went, but trust me, when it does that, it's going to snap. What it does, it snaps this piece to the edges here. It's going to snap this piece to that top edge, and that's bad. So I'm going to select here, and then I'm going to control marquee select here, and then I'm going to move and sew, and then I'm going to move this out of the way, and scooch it out of the way. Do the same thing here, move and sew, do that there, and move and sew, and you can just continue with all these little tiny small pieces. And it's a little bit more efficient than trying to just select I'm just trying to select an edge loop, a UV edge loop. And one way you can check it out is you can hit F and make sure that your manipulator is midway between the two pieces you want to move and sew, and then you got to watch once you hit move and sew to make sure that it works. All right, so we'll go to the top here, and same thing. All right, I'll go to UVs. I want to make sure. Oops, I missed one of the. Yeah. Now, if that happens, best thing to do is to go to Edge and deselect the pieces you want. Deselect the piece you don't want. There we go. Go down the edges here. Sometimes your piece will disappear because it's been snapped to the other piece. That's okay. Should be okay. And we'll just continue on down. And sometimes they snap to where you are. You just have to look and make sure. All right, so now I'm going to select all and make sure my pieces are snapped together the way I want them. That looks pretty good. Oops, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, all right, sometimes it just snaps over top of one another. All right, we'll go to the top edge here. And move and sew. Sometimes it will rotate. Oops, I got one of them. Same thing, missed one of the edges. So if that's the case, you go to Edge and deselect the piece that you want to keep. And there's the other piece that I want to not have selected. And move and sew it, and there we go. Okay, so now we've done our moving and sewing on the easy stuff. Let's do the hard part, or the harder part. I'm going to use this edge, and this one I think I will do a UV edge. Double-clicked on the edge there, and I'll go ahead and move and sew it. And then I'll go to UV shell, and I'm going to unfold. And I'm going to use the legacy method, mainly because I don't necessarily at this particular point in time want to, I don't want to lay things out just yet. I'll get to that point, but I'm not there yet. And also this piece doesn't really matter because we're really not going to be looking at it for, it's going to be very small on the final UV map. All right, so now I've got this piece, which is the main body. So I'm going to go to Shell, and to do this fairly efficiently, I'm going to rotate it and flip it. Move this out of the way. Go to Shell. And I'll move this down like so. And I'll go to my edges. And I want to select my edges judiciously. And then I want to deselect all of the edges that I know I don't want. And I'm, again, control selecting. I think I got pretty much everything. If I hit my W key, whoop, nope, I did something. There. Once I just basically took a shot in the dark. This little piece right here is selected. I just held down my control key and selected, deselected, just kind of in the dark. It doesn't really hurt you if to deselect nothing, if nothing's selected. And then I'm just going to sew it, okay, so that it looks like that. All right, now once I've got that done, I can convert to UVs and then convert to shell, and now I can unfold again. Okay, and that is with my border unselected, so that should give me a pretty good sew on my UVs. Okay, excuse me, give me a pretty good unfold on my UVs. Again, the purpose of this is to make sure that the polygons have the same format. Doesn't matter what angle you look at, the same format as what you see in your viewport. So if I look at this almost triangular quad and I zoom in on it in my space, in my UV space, I want it to have basically that same shape, and that's maybe a little thick here, but that's okay. All right, so once we've done that, then we're ready to throw a preliminary layout. All right, so I am going to go ahead and go to Polygons, Layout Options. I'm going to pre-scale it for the world and click Apply. Now that automatically scales this up, so I'll go to Shell, and I'll scale this down, and now I will turn my scale off. And click Layout UVs, and it's not doing it. One of the things to be aware of, so I'm going to go to Shell and move this out of the way. One of the things you want to be aware of is that I'll select everything except this shell, and I'll throw another layout on it. And it's still laying out everything. Okay. All right. It will look differently on yours because UV layouts just look differently, and you may need to go in and do some editing on the shells yourself just to make that layout more efficient. Now keep in mind, we will be laying out the shells into, pretty much an overall space. So with all the different pieces, and again, we'll work on that in a different lesson. I'm going to press D and X because I want to move my scale to here, and I'll scale this up to get my pieces making a larger part of the UV space. Okay, so that's pretty much, we'll leave that there for now, because what I need to do next is I need to go to Object Mode, and I'm going to grab these objects. I'll go to Front View, and what I want to do is I'm going to grab these three and I'm going to group them, and I'm going to duplicate the group, Command D, and I'm going to scale it to -1 in X, and then I'm going to ungroup them, and I'm going to go to Freeze Transformations, and I'll turn on my Viewport 2 render to make sure my normals are not reversed. But what I do know is that my UVs are a little bit odd, so I'm going to go ahead and flip them like so. And the reason I want to do that is then I'm going to lay out these pieces. Okay, and they will be, I'll go ahead and lay out these pieces too. There we go. And so now I can grab all of these and lay them out together. Okay, now obviously the wheels are too large in relationships to the wing. That's because I don't have any prescale. So now we'll try that. We'll go to World and lay things out there. That's better. That's a better layout because the wings are about the right size in relationship to the wheels. Okay, So in this lesson, we finished flipping the UVs on the, finished mirroring the UVs on the body, and then we flipped the geometry on the wings and laid out the UVs. And in the next lesson, we're going to lay out the UV shells, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we should do that, and because of how we're going to texture this.